Hello, everybody, and namaste. I am Dr. Anjali Gurgar, the founder principal of Pawar Public School at Nanded City, Pune. We are a CBSE school with 3,800 students, right from nursery to standard 10. This is the second school that I have started. My first school was Pawar Public School, an ICSE school at Amanora Park Town in Pune. After a stint of 12 years in the industry, because I'm trained to be a microbiologist, I decided that let me take a plunge into the school education because I love children and I love to be with them. And I thought that with my background, I would bring in new ideas, and that's what exactly the management thought too. The CBSE school has been a big challenge because we are so many children, but I just love them, and the children return the love. And we have a lot of new technology and new ideas being implemented in the school. We just finished the sports day and the march past competition. Now, one would say that march past competitions are held in every single school, but we also had a march past event for the teachers, and the teachers just loved it because I myself, I am an ex NCC cadet and RD, that is the Republic Day Parade cadet. So I brought this idea, and every year I have my teachers asking me, "Ma'am, when do we begin practicing for the March past?" We are doing art integration into the school. So art integration is not only about drawing and painting, but it's about bringing in performing arts like dance, music, even the computer skills into day-to-day teaching. So this does help children who have varied abilities. They may not be exactly very good in maths or very good in English reading, but once we have art integrated projects, we bring in a lot of new ideas and we cater to the aptitude of the child. And hence, it's fun learning for the child as well. The role of technology has increased very much since the pandemic days. The online platform was good for those 2 years when we were really under lockdown. Even before the pandemic, we were using things like the RFID, that is the radio frequency detector for managing the bus students. We have STEM projects and STEAM, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and then arts also. So we are using this just recently. We have procured, something called a bread box, which I was not aware of. Instead of the conventional measurement of verification of Ohm's law with the normal ammeter, rheostat, etc., we now get a small equipment called the bread box, and children just love to use it and verify Ohm's law. So technology can be used in a variety of ways by the children. Simple things like drone camera during annual days and sports days recording. Children, we give it to the children in our school, and we give the controls to our children. Just before the pandemic, we had this program called the Space Program. There was an expert from Ahmedabad ISRO Institute. So they actually built a small satellite and they launch it into the orbit. So these are exciting opportunities. There's a lot of technology, not only in physics, but simple things like when we use acid-base reactions. Conventionally, we have been using test tubes. But ever since the pandemic and people started knowing about the ELISA readers, which are used for detection of pathogens in the laboratory, so we thought we will use that ELISA tray in the chemistry lab to show acid-base reactions or to find out which substance is acidic in nature or neutral or alkaline. So there's a lot of scope for using technology in schools. The Atal Tinkering Labs gives a lot of this scope, which I'm referring to. The NEP 2020, it's a beautiful policy. It's going to take our children away from rote learning and the normal question answer method. The application, analysis, and the higher order thinking skills are missing in the conventional method. However, NEP 2020 will take our children away from rote learning. They are going to introduce a lot of skill subjects. Now one could have beauty parlor, beauty salon and health education right from 6th, 7th and 8th standards. So children are going to appreciate that if I have some different skills, I do not want to be, the engineer, doctor, lawyer or architect or the usual professions. Then I could have my skill developed, and there's so much scope for things like pottery, the artisans of our country. There are some ways in the NEP 2020 that we could invite potters, conventional potters, to the school and show the children the art of making pots by the conventional methods. There is one scope in the NEP 2020. Community would be involved. That means retired persons, experts in their own field, experts from the industry would interact with schools. Like, we would be inviting them and they would pass on their knowledge to our children. So the scope for selecting professions or jobs or businesses for the children would be very large. So the children would widen their horizons. Now, at the college level, there is also provision that if some children can do just the first year of college, they would get a certificate and they would be out to seek jobs. After the second year of college, they would get a diploma. After the third, they would get their degree. And after that, they would be free to choose if they want to go for the research fields, that is PhD. But here, the catch that I feel is, are the industries ready to take up somebody who had to drop out of the college after the first year just because of his family background? He had to drop out and start earning his bread and butter. But I'm sure the government has thought about this, and very soon, even the industries or the potential employers would have jobs for all these kind of students. So the NEP 2020, as I would see it, is a very beautiful policy, something which is needed for our children. There's a lot of scope for experiential learning, project-based learning, which is PBL, as it is called. The NEP 2020 also has something like foundational numeracy and literacy. This would ensure that all the children reaching third standard are well versed in reading, counting, and simple arithmetic. What the government and all of us also have observed, that in many conventional schools, there may be a dearth of teachers, and children reaching third standard may not be able to even read simple sentences. So this program would take care of this drawback in the current policy. There is something called as SAFAL as well in this policy, and this would ensure that the 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 stages of learning would be met with good standards of education. And also it would ensure that no child is left behind just because they have no background at home to teach them. There is scope for remediation also, that is remedial classes, to ensure that all children reach a particular standard before they go to the next level. Challenges that the educational institutes faced post lockdown. We all welcomed the government's decision when they said that schools may begin again full steam. The parents were happy, teachers were happy, and most of the children were happy too. But now, what was the challenge if everybody was happy? There was a learning loss of almost 18 months. I will not call it 24 months because the teachers worked very diligently during the lockdown period. They would stay up late night making videos, making PowerPoint presentations for the sake of the children. But how did you ensure that the children who have just logged in with their cameras off are actually listening to what the teacher was saying? So when the children came back in the month of April 2022, we had to make several worksheets. It continued in June, July, August too. These worksheets were called Bridge the Gap. So they covered syllabus and curriculum as you would have it, and they were based on concepts which the children were expected to know and learn and understand and apply during the 2 years of pandemic when they were sitting at home. No doubt they were showing on the video camera what homework they had done, or they were sending to the teachers PDF files of whatever they were writing. But when the children came back, they had to start writing in their notebooks. This was the biggest challenge to them. Even on a day to day basis before the pandemic, this is a challenge for the teachers that many children do not like to write. And when they came back after 2 years gap, this challenge was enhanced. The teachers, being teachers, we are all very, very patient. This is about the academics. There were large reading gaps, like the children were not well versed with reading the language fluently. There were gaps in the subject of mathematics. Apart from this, we saw a lot of social and behavioral problems. Because the children were confined to their homes for most of the times, it was as if they forgot how to talk to other people. In the school also, the teachers are greeting the children, good morning, children, and then they have to be reminded, okay, please wish the teachers back. Some of the children were very excited and they behaved very well when they came back to school. They thanked God and they thanked us for calling them back. We said, Beta, it is not that we did not want you in school, it was for the safety of all of us. This gap now, or this challenge, is almost overcome now, because it's been almost 7 months that the children are actually back to school in the physical sense of the word. So we are marching ahead, and we want to see that every child will prosper and every child will shine, pandemic or no pandemic. Children are already introduced to technology and they just love it. Areas like artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, Internet of Things are day to day jargon in the life of some of the children. So, we are going to introduce all these subjects, especially artificial intelligence is already on the skill subject of the CBSE list. There's a lot of weightage for health and physical education too. So some of the children could take up sports management and they can make a career out of it. It was not unheard, but I'm going to take up this in my school to a large extent. Of course, STEM programs will be there. The most important I see is giving more and more scope for inclusive education. After the pandemic, there are a lot of social and behavioral problems. There are a lot of children who need counseling. So I am going to take up this area in my school, and I want to ensure that no child, whether they have any problems at home, physical, emotional, social problems, we are going to address these problems and we are going to help the child come out of them. That's why I'm using the term inclusive education. We do have a few children who are actually challenged. We admit them. We have special educators for them. In some cases, we also need shadow teachers for these kind of children. So we want to help the society at large and also help our other so-called normal children to understand that such kind of persons exist in society and we have to make them a part of our society.